your first feeling going to be like suiting up for the senior national team?
Oh, it's going to be amazing. Like, as a kid, this is what you grow up watching. So obviously I've watched a lot of really great players, and now I think it's kind of like going to be a pinch me moment. Like, this is kind of what you dream of. And obviously, as being someone that's played for 3 junior national teams, you know, not many kids that had that opportunity get this opportunity. So just super great.
To fully appreciate why Clark's return has generated so much excitement, it's important to remember just how difficult the previous season turned out to be for her. The 2025 campaign was supposed to be another step forward in the career of one of basketball's brightest young stars. Instead, it quickly became a series of frustrating setbacks that tested her resilience both physically and mentally. Imagine being in Clark's position during that stretch. You begin the season determined to build on the momentum you created during your rookie year. Expectations are high. Fans are eager to see what you will accomplish next. Then suddenly an injury appears and interrupts the rhythm you worked so hard to develop. At first, it might seem like a temporary obstacle. Athletes are accustomed to minor injuries and brief recovery periods. But in Clark's case, the situation did not unfold that simply. As soon as one issue began to improve, another seemed to surface. Instead of a straightforward recovery timeline, the setbacks started stacking on top of one another. For fans of the Indiana Fever, it was a frustrating experience to watch. Week after week, supporters checked injury reports hoping to see Clark's name removed from the list. They waited for updates suggesting she was ready to return to the lineup. Yet the timeline kept stretching further than expected. Sometimes she was seen on the bench supporting her teammates. Other times she was recovering away from the court entirely, continuing rehabilitation work while games carried on without her. For a player known for her competitive energy and desire to influence every possession, that separation from the action can be incredibly difficult. Clark herself later acknowledged how challenging that period became. During interviews reflecting on the season, she admitted that the repeated setbacks began to affect her mentally. It wasn't just the physical discomfort of recovering from injuries, it was the uncertainty that accompanied them. Athletes often say they can handle a single injury because it comes with a clear path forward. You diagnose the problem, create a rehabilitation plan, and follow the steps until you return. But when injuries occur repeatedly, that clarity disappears. Each time you think you are close to playing again, something else interrupts the process. That cycle can create doubt even in the minds of elite competitors. Clark openly admitted that the constant setbacks began to play with her mind, a rare moment of vulnerability from a player known for her confidence and composure. Considering how quickly she made an impact when she first entered the WNBA, hearing her speak honestly about those mental challenges made the story of her comeback even more compelling. It showed that behind the highlight reels and statistical achievements is a young athlete navigating the same frustrations that many professionals experience during difficult seasons.
I've always been a person that's going to just rely on my work. Like, I feel like it's certainly made me work harder, but that's also probably the part that kind of stunk about it, is I felt like I put in so much time and so much energy going into last season, and then obviously I only appeared in about 13 games, and some of those probably wasn't as healthy as I probably should have been. So I think just relying on that. I think for me, like, you know, obviously I didn't have, like, it's not like I, hurt my knee or, tore my Achilles or something like that. Obviously, knock on wood, it was kind of these nagging injuries that continued to build up and dealt with one on top of the other. And
what does it actually look like when a player returns from what many considered the toughest and most frustrating season of her career and then immediately walks into a national team training camp and starts dominating the conversation? For fans following women's basketball closely, that question now has a very clear answer. It looks a lot like what Caitlin Clark just did the moment she stepped into the gym for the latest USA basketball training camp. After months away from competitive play and nearly 8 long months focused on recovery and rebuilding her body, Clark arrived at camp carrying a mixture of anticipation and curiosity from everyone watching. Teammates, coaches, and analysts all wondered the same thing: what version of Clark would show up? Would she still be easing her way back into full form? Would she need time to regain the explosive confidence that made her one of the most exciting players in the sport? Within just a few days, those questions started answering themselves. According to reports and early footage from the training sessions, Clark didn't look like a player cautiously returning from a difficult year. Instead, she looked energized, aggressive, and completely comfortable commanding the pace of the game again. Shots were falling from long distance, passes were being delivered with precision, and the tempo of the scrimmages noticeably accelerated whenever she had the ball in her hands. Players who have already built impressive careers were reportedly glancing at each other with expressions that suggested something had changed. The feeling around the court was that Clark wasn't simply back, she might actually be better than before. Moments like this tend to spread quickly through the basketball community. A few impressive drills become a highlight clip. A handful of confident plays become a conversation topic among analysts. Soon the entire training camp starts revolving around the same story: the player who just returned from adversity and suddenly looks like one of the most dynamic athletes in the building. Clark herself also addressed her return during a major interview that quickly circulated online. In that conversation, she spoke openly about the months she spent recovering, reflecting on the challenges of being away from the court, and preparing herself mentally for the next stage of her career. For fans of the Indiana Fever, hearing those comments was particularly encouraging. Clark is not only one of the league's most talented players but also the central figure around whom the Fever's future is being built. If she returns stronger, healthier, and more focused than before, it dramatically changes the outlook for the entire team. Supporters of United States women's national basketball team are feeling the same excitement. Training camp performances do not guarantee success in upcoming competitions, but they often reveal which players are entering the season with renewed energy and confidence. And right now, if the early days of camp are any indication, Caitlin Clark's return is giving both Fever fans and Team USA supporters a very good reason to feel optimistic about what comes next.
I was probably almost, played with my mind even more than like knowing I was going to be out for a set period of time. I was like always trying to come back. And then I'd get hurt in another way. And then, finally, obviously shutting it down. I've had a good, 6 months or maybe more. And I think the first USA basketball camp was a great checkpoint for me. And I felt really great. Honestly, I was impressed with like how with it I felt. Like sometimes I felt like it maybe would take me a day or two to really get my first step back. But I felt like myself out there.
One of the most interesting details from Clark's recent interview was the way she described the work she put in during those months away from competition. She made it clear that the process went far beyond simply recovering from injuries. Instead of focusing solely on healing enough to return to the court, she approached the entire period as an opportunity to rebuild herself physically and mentally. When Clark explained her preparation, she emphasized that she wanted to place herself in the best possible shape she could achieve at this stage of her career. That statement might sound simple, but it actually reveals a great deal about her mindset. Many athletes returning from injury concentrate only on regaining their previous form. Clark appeared determined to go further than that. The rehabilitation process became a complete transformation. Conditioning drills were intensified to rebuild endurance. Strength training programs targeted muscles that support stability and prevent future injuries. Skill workouts focused on refining the areas of her game that make her such a dangerous offensive player. Every part of her routine was designed with one objective in mind: returning stronger than before. Another factor quietly influencing that motivation may have been an event that received surprisingly little public discussion at the time: the decision not to include Clark on the United States women's national basketball team roster for the 2024 Summer Olympics. When that roster was announced, many fans expected Clark's name to appear on the list. She had already become one of the most talked about players in basketball, and her popularity was helping attract new audiences to the sport. However, the final selection did not include her. Clark handled the situation with remarkable professionalism. She did not criticize the decision publicly or create controversy around the announcement. Instead, she focused on continuing her development and supporting the team. But moments like that often leave a lasting impression on competitive athletes. Even when they choose not to speak about it openly, the experience can become a powerful source of motivation. Walking back into a USA basketball training facility now carries emotional significance that goes beyond simple practice sessions. It represents a chance to demonstrate growth, resilience, and determination. For Clark, returning to that environment after months of recovery symbolizes the next chapter in her journey, a moment where preparation meets opportunity once again.
Just remind myself who I am and what I've been, and I didn't lose that, so just continue to do that.
When the first few days of training camp began, it didn't take long for coaches and teammates to notice something different about Clark's presence on the floor. Even through short clips and practice footage shared online, observers could see that she wasn't approaching the sessions like a player cautiously testing her body after months of recovery. Instead, she looked aggressive, confident, and completely comfortable dictating the pace of the game. Most athletes returning from long injury layoffs follow a predictable pattern. They ease themselves back into full competition. They avoid unnecessary risks and focus on gradually rebuilding their rhythm. This approach makes sense because the body often needs time to adapt after months of rehabilitation. But Clark's approach at camp appeared very different. From the beginning of scrimmages and drills, she played with the same fearless energy that fans had come to associate with her style. She pushed the tempo in transition, looked for long-range shots, and created scoring opportunities for teammates with sharp passes. That aggressive mindset caught the attention of coaches immediately. Training camps are designed to evaluate players carefully, and when someone returning from injury demonstrates full confidence in their abilities, it sends a strong message about their readiness. Teammates noticed it as well. Basketball players develop an instinctive sense for how others move on the court. When someone is hesitant or unsure of their body, those subtle signs become obvious. But in Clark's case, there was little indication of hesitation. Her movements looked fluid, and her decision-making appeared quick and decisive. Watching those early sessions created an unmistakable impression. Clark wasn't simply returning to basketball, she was attacking the opportunity with renewed intensity. For fans following the developments, the footage from camp quickly spread across social media. Clips of deep three-point shots, fast-paced drives, and confident playmaking reminded everyone why Clark became such a phenomenon in the first place. The excitement surrounding her return began building rapidly, not just among supporters of the Indiana Fever, but throughout the entire basketball community. Analysts started discussing what her improved conditioning and renewed motivation might mean for the upcoming season. If the early signs from training camp are any indication, Clark's comeback might not simply mark a return to form, it could represent the beginning of an even more dynamic stage in her career.
Look at that knockdown. One more time, Caitlin. Give it to him one more time. One more time. Side step. Come on, man. Smooth. Smooth as a baby's behind. Knockdown, baby. I like it. Let's go, Caitlin. Hey, we locked in, man. Y'all see how clean USA basketball is looking right now? Come on, man. I know it's just some chill drills. I know. Y'all can say, man, Izzy, you hyping this up a little too much. But honestly, it is just a good sight to